They were the protests that turned to violence, the student demonstrations in London yesterday, which had at first seemed peaceful enough.
Thousands of students from the Meridian region joined in the march against soaring student fees. Many of you have been calling and emailing us. So let's start with Arthur Skinner from Broadstairs. He believes tuition fees should be funded by local government. He says you should have to pass an entrance exam to get into university.
Tony Spears from Romsey agrees with the principle of protest, but, quote, not the violence. Meanwhile, Liz Case from Ashford says they were right to protest. People write to the government to get them to change their minds, and it makes no difference.
And Roy Barham from Poole thinks the police should identify the troublemakers and they should be thrown out of university.
Well, earlier I spoke to Cameron Tait, the president of the Students' Union at the University of Sussex. I asked him if he agreed with Mr Barham. Cameron Tait, thanks so much for joining us. What's your reaction to the viewer who thinks the police should identify the troublemakers and they should be thrown out of university?
Well, I think that actually it depends on what you believe, who you believe are the troublemakers. I think that actually the real vandals occupied the offices of the Millbank Tower long before November the 10th. I think that what happened after the NUS rally was an overflow of anger and frustration of many students that felt disempowered, disenfranchised and oppressed by the coalition government.
So you condone all the violence, do you? You're quite happy about that?
I'm not sure about that, but I think you've got to put it into perspective here, because I think the damage and the violence, as you put it, once you put it into perspective of the windows smashed and so on, it comes to an amount of money, and when you think about that amount of money,
well, it doesn't just come to money, does it, Cameron? What about policemen and policewomen who were injured? I mean, do you have no feelings for them at all?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you've certainly got to draw the line at physical, personal harm. But I think when we're talking about damage here, we're dealing with a coalition government that are cutting so many jobs, so many public services. They're destroying education, privatising education, and changing the dynamic of the society that we live in.
Do you feel you have damaged public support, or doesn't that matter to you?
Well, it certainly does matter. I think that the 52,000 students and staff and lecturers and other workers and members of the public marching showed that there was a massive amount of opposition to the cuts of the government.
And very quickly, can I ask you, more demonstrations, or is that it? Is there more to come?
Oh, certainly. I think that we need to unite, and I think that we need to unite with the trade unions and other workers and people that are being oppressed and oppressed by the coalition's plans. And I think there will be more protests, because I think this is in many ways only the beginning.
Cameron Tait, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Fred.